Thank you, Adrian. Well, international friendlies have often been the vehicle for Gareth Southgate's experimentation, but they have an outstanding record in them. They've won each of the last 11, home and away. Tonight, another much-changed team bids to extend that record to 12 against an Australian side whose World Cup campaign showed their ability to punch above their weight. A team for whom the total has often been greater than the sum of the parts. A situation England and every other international side would like to emulate, particularly in tournament season. Well, Tuesday's Italian job clearly occupies the minds. You can tell that by the team that's been picked. But on an individual basis, tonight's of crucial importance for some, because the Euros are coming around quickly. Chances to test and tune are scarce, making this far more than just a diary commitment. Well, England's 11 average fewer than 15 caps per man. It's the most inexperienced side Gareth's picked for more than 2 years. Johnston in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Tomori, Duncan, Colwell, Henderson and Gallagher, Bowen, Maddison and Grealish, and Watkins. For Australia, it's Ryan, Strain, Suter, Burgess and Rolls, Boyle, Bacchus, Irvine and Goodwin, and Metcalf of Duke up front. The referee is Stephanie Frappart from France. A little bit of history. The first female referee to officiate a men's international game at Wembley. And indeed it is the first time that Australia have ever played here at Wembley.
This evening's match officials, referee Stephanie Frappart.
As I mentioned, it's the least experienced side England have picked since the Romania game before the last Euros. They've won 162 caps between them. Jordan Henderson with nearly half of those, and he captains the side tonight. Well, before the game starts, there will be a silence to remember the innocent victims of the devastating events in Israel and Palestine. And those here in Wembley will rise to think of them, their families and friends in both England and Australia, and all of the communities who were affected by this ongoing conflict.
Tonight we stand for humanity and an end to the death, violence, fear and suffering. There will now be a period of silence that will start and end on the referee's whistle.
Silence to pay tribute to the innocent victims of the conflict in Israel and Palestine. Both England and Australia's players are wearing black armbands to show their respect this evening. It's going to be England to get us underway. The white shirts, dark blue shorts, kicking from left to right, defending the Old Tunnel End, the East Stand here at Wembley. Australia in their customary golden shirts with the green trim and the green shorts. They're just in a huddle, just outside the centre circle at the moment. And they will now break. Ryan removes a white towel from around his shoulders and makes his way over to the west side of the ground. The Australian travelling support are at that corner of the stadium. Well, for over 140 years, sports encounters between England and Australia have captivated the imagination. And whilst this one might not have the high stakes of an Ashes encounter, the rarity of a footballing meeting of the two old foes means this transcends its billing as a mere international friendly. There are plenty with points to prove tonight. We're underway, and Ollie Watkins has already picked up a bang to the top of the head, and he will just be attended to by the referee, just making sure that he's okay before play is allowed to continue. I'm delighted to say the former England captain Stuart Pearce is alongside me, just watching our replay. Cam Burgess, the Ipswich defender, catching Watkins with a flailing arm. They talked about the fact it's a big night for Grealish, big night for Watkins as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think he's coming into this game full of confidence, full of goals, and he should be looking forward to the game, and the last thing you want within seconds is the ball tossed up for a centre-half to put his elbow in your face, but he knows he's been in a game straight away. I think he'll do well tonight.
Particularly one of those two centre-halves, Harry Souttar, 6'6", and Cam Burgess not too far behind him. England in possession, the rain driving down here in North London tonight. Lewis Dunk playing on the left of the two centre-halves, finding Colwell. And now to be worked out towards the England left flank again for Jack Grealish. Watkins making his way forward to the edge of the penalty area, and Gallagher in the close support. Back he comes through the midfield for Lewis Dunk, and now Henderson linking up, lays it off to Maddison, and Maddison, wearing 10 for England, plays out to the left-hand touchline. And England, when they have possession, almost playing with a back three. That gives Trent Alexander-Arnold the licence to push forward into midfield, as he does for Liverpool, where he will play alongside Henderson, and the remaining defenders, Tamori, Dunk and Colwell, will just space out. It's Colwell in possession now, so playing the same kind of role really that he does week in, week out for Chelsea here.
Yeah, as I say, he won't be fazed by playing in that position, that's for sure. I just picked up on there, Grealish has received the ball a couple of times. We're just straying in front of him, his fullback to take on, and twice now he's turned the opportunity of taking the fullback on. I've played in that position for a multitude of years, and I tell you what, when the winger gets the ball, if he doesn't take you on, you're absolutely delighted.
Ball is out of play for an Australian throw over on the far touchline, and it'll just be worked for. It's taking a little nick on its way through. Goes out for another throw that'll be taken on the Aussie right-hand side by Brian Strain, who's born in Coventry. Grandfather played international football for the United States. His mum was a runner for Great Britain in the Olympics a few years back. As Alexander-Arnold forced to mop up inside his own penalty area after a defensive header might not quite have got through to Johnston, and Trent not taking any chances. Long ball worked for by the dark-haired Burgess at the heart of the Australian defence. A good start here from Graham Arnold's man. Brought back inside by Boyle and played down to the left flank for Goodwin. Goodwin's right-footed ball, deflecting first off Alexander-Arnold, then off Jarrod Bowen, and now to play for an Aussie throw in front of us. We're situated about midway inside the half of England and defending in this first half on TalkSport.
Yeah, I think the difference between the two sides tonight, Jim, I think England might turn opportunities down potentially to keep possession of the ball. The Aussies slightly different in that respect. You get the impression they'll get it forward when they can, and they'll deliver it in the box certainly when they can.
That's one of the hallmarks of their performances in the World Cup, as well as the undoubted industry and effervescent running style. They're more than happy to go long and look for Duke, with Metcalf, who ordinarily is a midfielder, playing as a kind of second striker off him, as he did against Mexico last time out. He's just handballed it, and it'll be a free kick which will be taken by England on the right-hand side of their own penalty area with Fikayo Tomori. Tomori, the Canadian-born centre-half, whose last cap came against Italy back in the Nations League in June of last year. Sam Johnson's had to wait longer than that to get a recall into the England side, and that for a goalkeeper who's never conceded a goal for his country. And you and I saw him have a particularly fine game against Romania in Middlesbrough a couple of years ago, keeping a clean sheet that day, and certainly deserved it. It was a fine performance, and he's been number one at Crystal Palace since April, hoping to extend that record of clean sheets at the start of his international career tonight. Here's Alexander-Arnold in possession. He's played it back for Tomori. Tomori will just gravitate back towards the edge of his own penalty area before finding Dunk, and Dunk goes back for Johnston again. And Johnston clears it right-footed. You can see the markings on the ball spinning as it comes down towards Jarrod Bowen on the England right-hand side, but it's poked past Tomori, who stepped up from the defensive line, laid off by Duke. Irvine trying to get the ball inside the penalty area. It hit Gallagher, and that meant that Alexander-Arnold was forced to play it, and he's done well to be able to buy a throw, which will be taken on the England right-hand side. But 5 minutes in, the Aussies have probably started the brighter of the two, Stuart.
Yeah, they have, certainly on territory anyway. And the one thing that England are looking to do at this moment in time, Tomori, the right centre-half's looking to drop into a right-back-ish situation, and Trent Alexander, as he does for Liverpool, just going inside into that midfield area, looking to get on the ball and build up from there.
There's another Australian throw. There's a chance for Rolls potentially to try and launch a long one inside the penalty area. He's nicked a couple of yards, just shuffling forward to the edge of the England box. A little 1-2 in the end. They just threw it short. It's delivered in now. Decent header away, followed by a second from Madison. And then a bounce down through the midfield where it's turned back forward by Ryan Strain, but too much of an up and under from the right back. And it goes safely through to the hands of Sam Johnson away to the left-hand side. And England yet to really get going. This mix and match team that's been picked by Gareth Southgate tonight. 8 of the 11 in the starting lineup have won fewer than 10 caps before the start of the evening. So I understand that they're just feeding their way into it a little bit at the moment. More of a cohesive unit, this Australian team. 9 of this side played in their last game where they featured against Mexico in the United States in a game in Arlington last month, and they were 2-0 up, but it ended up being 2-2. England now with an opportunity to push forward down the left-hand side. A little bit of movement comes from Gallagher. It's a more conservative pass instead towards Dunk. Henderson linking up with Tamori. England have worked it back inside their own half for Lewis Dunk again. Now work down the left-hand touchline. Another opportunity for Jack Grealish. He'll just cut back inside rather than try and turn and take on Strain. Now it comes down towards halfway where Tamori can work it back for Lewis Dunk. And again, just a little bit pedestrian at the moment for England. Dunk will play a ball between the lines, finding Gallagher. Gallagher's got a little bit of room to turn, and now he can play down towards Jared Bowen. It's had such a good start of the season. Nice ball inside the area. Slipped in for Gallagher. It's across the base of the 6-yard box. Watkins couldn't get a touch to turn it in. Madison on the slide couldn't reach it either. That was much better from England. Right-footed ball now inside the area, takes a deflection. Goalkeeper doesn't know whether to come or not, and eventually it's headed over Ryan's bar and goes out of play for a goal kick. It's a difficult chance that coming onto it for Jared Bowen, but that was much better. One perceptive pass, the back line turn, and Australia completely unpicked.
Well, I think we've just seen the total difference there between our left side and our right-hand side. We've had 3 instances on Jack Grealish's side where he's turned the opportunity down to run at the opposition fullback. As soon as Bowen got the ball, he had one thing on his mind: drive at the fullback and then playing a great pass in behind. Really good play by Bowen.
So is that a confidence thing, do you think? I mean, we talked about the start that he's made 5 goals in his 8 Premier League games this season, and Jack's still waiting for his first goal involvement.
I think there's a little bit of style of play. Bowen will be expected at West Ham to drive at the fullback straight away. Grealish, on the other hand, is used to playing in a team that the opposition bank up behind the ball. Possession is key. So it's slightly divorcing yourself from your club style, if you like.
Bowen, just for a moment, looks as though he might be hobbling into space on the right-hand touchline. It seems okay. He's able to continue. And there's a little injection of pace there as he tries to make a run down behind the Australian left-back Rolls. The ball is chipped towards the edge of the penalty area. Matty Ryan, not the tallest goalkeeper, but judged that one well and came out of his box and just headed it away. A cushion header which Burgess clears upfield. England soon have it back though, turned intelligently around the corner by Bowen and then played by Watkins and towards the England left-hand side for Grealish. Grealish will chop it back onto his right foot, comes back outside the penalty area, trying to set up Gallagher, but it was easily read and cleared by Backus. And England will pick it up again inside the centre circle. So almost like a boxer, first 4 or 5 minutes, England just soaking up the punches just to see what Australia have got, and now trying to get a bit of attacking action of their own.
Yeah, the one thing England have got, they've got a couple of willing runners who are prepared in Bowen and Ollie Watkins that are prepared to run without the ball in behind the opposition's back line. And if they can get Trent Alexander on the ball, and he, as he tried to do then, trying to feed Madison in, he will play that ball in behind.
Well, Scotland, of course, didn't get their qualification assured last night with the defeat that they had in Seville. France can tonight if they win in the Netherlands, and they're already a goal up. Kylian Mbappe's 5th of this qualification campaign as Le Bleu looked for a 6th consecutive competitive win. And they lead by a goal to nil. Ball cleared by Johnston. Forward towards the right-hand side. Ireland still 0-0 in their game. They're out if they fail to win at home to Greece tonight. The ball with Watkins here with his back to the direction of play. A lovely turn. Just a sublime piece of skill to take Backus out of it. And then Grealish trying to run onto the pass, just stumbled. And that allowed Australia the opportunity to get it back. I mean, it is not a precarious playing service, but so much rain has come down in the last hour and a quarter or so that it's just a little bit trepidatious underfoot, and he just slipped at the vital moment there.
Yeah, we had a super opportunity there. A sort of overload was developing, and Bowen's pass from right to left just wasn't firm enough.
Now Australia will try and get going down their right flank. Henderson, I'll put a challenge in, and it comes down to the left where a delivery is knocked away. Backus picking it up. Back out towards Goodwin, whose first cross was clear. Backus will just let the ball come onto his right foot, and that's a smart save from Johnston. There's a shot from Backus, took a nick off an England player, tried to clear it, and Johnston forced to throw himself to his left-hand side, and that proud record of never conceding for his country remains intact.
That was a smart save, I've got to say. Backus opened his body up, and I think it's a shot, but he's shooting through a cluster of players in the hope there's a deflection, and he got one from Tamori, who put a good block on, and then Johnston just followed the line of the ball and helped it for a corner.
Well, that would have gone in. It was a very good piece of goalkeeping by Sam Johnston. Australia with the first corner. Half cleared from the penalty area, and then an acrobatic left-footed scissor kick attempt just went down into the ground, and Johnston can make a much more routine save to get on the end of that. But the first phase of play when the ball came in almost caused problems for the England back line.
Yeah, it certainly will, because the Aussies are not afraid to pop that ball in the box. Every opportunity, if it goes wide, they're getting the balls in the box, and they challenge for everything. They've got some height in their side as well.
Bosnia and Herzegovina are one side that can go out of Europe tonight, but they lead away to Liechtenstein by a goal to nil. Austria nil, Belgium 1 in the big game at the top of Group F. Whoever wins that qualifies this evening, and Belgium are a goal up there. This one is 0-0 on TalkSport between England and Australia, and we're in the 13th minute. The former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside me, Jim Brownfield. England in possession. Johnston, the one goalkeeper of the two that's been called into action so far. One really good save diving away to his left-hand side. Ball play forward from the back by Lewis Dunk, winning consecutive caps for the first time in his career, caps in consecutive internationals for the first time. Grealish playing it down the left-hand side. Brought down by Watkins. Former Villa man finding a current one. Recycle back through the midfield from Jordan Henderson. Dunked down to Tamori. Now to Jared Bowen. Moving ahead of him came from Gallagher, but Bowen has shifted it back inside instead to halfway. Tamori to Dunk and back out towards Colwell. Colwell playing it forward down the England left-hand touchline. Able to string the passes together with relative ease. Metcalf did his best to try and cut that latest one out, but it still fell for Alexander-Arnold, and he can now play it down the line for Bowen. Bowen to Gallagher. Gallagher's ball in was blocked, and then coming back to cover, Goodwin can help get it away. Tamori then leans into his man and fouls due. And it's going to be a free kick which will be taken by Australia about 15 yards outside their box. 14 minutes gone. It's not been a vintage start for England, but 0-0 at the moment.
Yeah, pleased once again with Bowen when it arrived at his feet. He's looking to either run forward with it or play it forward, and that is so important, especially when you've got the balance on the other side of Jack Grealish, who probably my memory of him at Villa is someone who received the ball and drove forward with it, and I think he's lost that from his game a little bit. And you ask any fullback, they'll be absolutely delighted if your winger is turning backwards all the time.
And in fairness to Jack, I think that's what he's been paid to do at Manchester City. I'm not saying he's had the directness coached out of him, but it's not a part of the Manchester City game plan to facilitate orthodox wingers in the same way that had that responsibility at Aston Villa. It's just a rare start for him tonight, as we've mentioned. Only the 8th time that he's started an international in the last 34 that England have played. Johnston siphoning the ball out. Alexander-Arnold able to almost play Watkins in. He did really well to turn onto a ball hit for by Johnston, and then a perceptive ball got it between the two Australian centre halves. Watkins couldn't get there. Ryan dealt with that. Now the Aussies working over the top, and Goodwin has got an opportunity to break forward, and he wins the corner with a left-footed delivery. Alexander-Arnold watched him every step of the way, stuck out a right foot and blocked it. But the Aussies had their second corner of the night.
Yeah, game swung from one end to the other. It was Trent Alexander in that inside position, getting on the ball and slid a fantastic ball through that was just cut out, and then from the resulting, I think it was almost a clearance rather than a pass, Jim. It spun in behind England's back line, and once again the Aussies are not afraid to put the ball in the box and force corners and defensive actions from England.
Well, this will be a big part of the game plan. Try to work set pieces. Duke is up there. Suter, the Leicester City man, waits on the edge of the 6-yard box. A header comes in, but the whistle had gone before from the edge of the penalty area, which was deflected wide anyway. A little bit of pushing and shoving going on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Jordan Henderson is the England man who's down hurt.
Yeah, I think the Aussies try to work a block there. Yeah, they tried to work a block, and it's just head on head, I think.
Yeah, Rolls was the player involved for Australia. Just trying to stop Henderson being able to make a defensive run. The referee Stephanie Frappard is happy. He's going to be able to continue. Whatever happens tonight, your chance to react to it will be right here. You are listening to England against Australia on TalkSport, and after us, Adam Catterall and Jermaine Pennant will take your calls. Baker Ellis, our England correspondent, will bring you all of the reaction from the tunnel. We'll hear from Gareth Southgate, the headline makers as well. It's all on the Sports Bar Weekender from 10 o'clock tonight on 03717 223344 is the number for you to be able to join in. Here's Jared Bowen making his way down the England right. Writes the first challenge which came in from Duke, then checks back. He's got Duke to beat again, and he's laid it back for Alexander-Arnold instead. Played forward by Henderson. Opportunity to try and turn for Madison. England haven't really been able to get too heavily involved so far. Another who's started this domestic season so brilliant. Henderson now down towards Alexander-Arnold again. A couple of yards in from the right-hand touchline. Nice ball into the feet of Watkins. Watkins trying to turn, but he needed immediate support. Madison trying to supply that. Suter can lay it back for his goalkeeper, and Ryan's there to clear hurriedly, left-footed, slightly off balance, but he got it away towards halfway. England are going to be able to build from the back again. Henderson, incidentally, having seemingly come off the worst in that clash of heads, has been able to continue, but Rolls, the Australian defender, is off the pitch, still receiving trims, getting patched up at the moment, the left back. Opportunity again for England to bring it forward. Alexander-Arnold to his right-hand side for Fikayo Tomori. Rolls able to come back on, and England will bring it forward down the inside left channel with Henderson back out towards Grealish. Cole making a run outside him. Madison trying to feather it back into his path. It's a hurried last-ditch clearance. Henderson recycles it and plays the ball back out towards Cole again, who's only 20. February 2003 on the South Coast. He's had a fantastic rise through that loan spell he had at Brighton last year, and summoned every game in the Premier League since Pochettino came to Chelsea. Getting his moment tonight to win his first England cap, the 91st player Gareth Southgate has used, the 58th debutant of Gareth Southgate's reign. It's actually not too far short now, Gareth Southgate, of 150 caps as player and manager combined, which would be the first. He would be the first to get to that milestone. Here's Lewis Dunk. He's going inside the centre circle. Just work it down towards the right-hand side for Tomori. Gallagher take the ball on the half turn. It's a good, strong challenge that came in on him from Burgess. And the referee said it was, I was half right. It was a strong challenge, but not a good one. And it's a free kick which will be taken by England, and Burgess has hurt himself in the process of making it.
Well, I think the Aussies and Burgess himself is suggesting that he got there first, and it was Gallagher. It was Gallagher who got there late, and on another day, the referee sees that as a very poor challenge. I'm not sure which I'd call that. I would say it was more a foul on the Australian player, Jim. I don't know about you.
Well, he's certainly come off the worst of the two. He's back on his feet, he's chuntering away. Cam Burgess. He's got a free kick which he's got to defend here. With TalkSport, we're 19 minutes in. It's England 0, Australia 0. Dunk. There's the ball down towards the right-hand side of the midfield for Trent Alexander-Arnold, playing as an inverted fullback. And Colwell out towards Grealish, and this time Grealish will try and take on his marker Ryan Strain, but just nudged it past him and over the line. Out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Australian right-hand side. What are your thoughts and conclusions through the opening 20 minutes, Stuart?
Well, you certainly know the Australians have come here to put the ball in the box at the earliest possible convenience, and they've done that, and they've shown they're decent on the counter. From England's point of view, probably the best interactions have happened on this right-hand side with Bowen, who's prepared to run at people, but we're just finding out a little bit at the moment, and it might take us maybe 40-50 minutes to work each other out and open up spaces.
England looked long that time for Jarrod Bowen, making a run in behind Burgess.
I think that's what England have got to do. Got to mix the game up a little bit, turn the opposition round on occasion. That will free up more space to come short.
Now Irvine. Out towards the right-hand side of the Australian midfield. The body's inside the box. Oh, it's just wide. Brilliantly struck by Duke, who came onto it. It's an excellent delivery into his path by Boyle, and he flashed the right foot in effort at that mixed Duke, which had Johnston beaten, but it went just wide of the post.
Well, the one thing you do know if you're an Australian striker is the ball's coming in the box when it goes out wide. You know, it's not even a second thought. And fantastic by Duke. He wrapped his foot round it. I'm not sure whether Johnston have it covered. He might well have done, but a good effort all the same.
He's a player that plays club football in the Japanese second division these days. Juki scored the winner against Tunisia in the World Cup. Only 8 league goals at a rate of 1 every 4 games in the second tier of Japanese football this season, but not too far away from scoring his 10th goal for the Socceroos there. It was beautifully struck. A really good Australian move. And midway through the first half, the better goal-scoring opportunities here on TalkSport have come away to our left-hand side in the goal that Sam Johnston is defending, but it remains 0-0. Tamori, a yard in from that right flank, forward towards Trent Alexander-Arnold. Bowen with an intelligent ball through the midfield, space for Henderson, nice weight on his ball for Trent. Bowen makes a run outside him, Trent switched it the other way, long diagonal, perfect execution to Grealish, just took his eye off the ball and didn't control it. He has now got it, but Australia have regained a little bit of their defensive shape behind the ball. When the ball is played back, they've now backed back up with a 4 and a 5, just to make England's life difficult again, but it was well played by Trent to create the space. Grealish been able to bring that under control and might have been able to play Watkins in inside the box. Good turn by Gallagher. Gallagher tried to nudge it away from Bacchus, another of the St Mirren contingent. As the ball is won by England, it's flipped over the line, out of play. The referee has signalled that it's an England ball for a foul on Colwell. It's 0-0 between England and Australia here on TalkSport.
Yeah, slightly late challenge there. I think it was Henderson that ended up getting caught. But it's been an intriguing game, really. England playing the more patient build-up football, when the Australians, you know, on turnover and build-up, they go from back to front, albeit through the thirds on occasion, but they go from back to front much quicker with an end product into the box.
So this one 0-0 at the moment. The Republic of Ireland trailing at home to Greece, which would be a result that would see them eliminated from the Euros. They wouldn't make it. England bring the ball forward, and the offside flag is up to kind of partially spare the blushes of Maddison, who's trying to larrup it into the top right-hand corner, and he put it, had the flag not have been up, for a throw 15 yards from the corner flag.
Well, if I didn't know better, I would say that Maddison was trying to mimic my golfing efforts, Jim. I really would. That was a shank like you would never see. But I tell you what, I looked at the replay and there was not much in that, actually, the offside. I think he was just fractionally onside.
One of those rare occasions where I think an attacking player is delighted to see the flag comes up, because he knows that it wouldn't have mattered. Do have VAR tonight, so it would have been looked at. Australia trying to play their way out from the back. but not doing so with a great degree of conviction. England winning a lot of the second ball now, which they weren't in the early exchanges, but they are now. Ryan didn't come out to deal with that. Watkins putting the pressure on. That meant that Burgess had to nudge it back to his goalkeeper very hurriedly, and Ryan had to volley it away. Had to be a brisk ball back to him off the ground, and he did rather volley it clear and not hit Watkins with it. The latest goals elsewhere: Austria 0, Belgium 1, Iceland 1, Luxembourg 0. Iceland out if they lose tonight and Slovakia win. Ireland trailing at home to Greece, that'll see the Irish out. Liechtenstein trailing at home to Bosnia and Herzegovina by a goal to 0. France winning the big one away to the Netherlands by that early Kylian Mbappe goal. And Portugal leads Slovakia by a goal to 0. Gonzalo Ramos with a Bruno Fernandes assist in that game. So they look to maintain their 100% record, and they too will qualify tonight if they win. Portugal a goal up in that game. They've scored 25 in that qualifying section, and they haven't yet conceded any. Another free kick for an offside here, which will be taken by the Aussies just outside their own penalty area. It's another very, very tight one against Watkins. It remains 0-0.
Really tight there, really good play. Grealish receiving the ball with his back to play, cut it inside with his first touch, and then cut a pass through for Ollie Watkins, who made those trademark galloping runs into the channel, and he'll get joy if he keeps doing that, but we've got to keep looking for it. Really good pass there by Grealish.
So still the match stats at the moment: possession 75-25 in England's favour, but the attempt 75-25 in Australia's favour. England just with one off-target attempt so far. The Aussies with 3, 2 on target, one of which was very well saved by Johnston.
Yeah, as I say, it certainly felt that way. In regard to the possession stats, it doesn't seem as though England have had that much possession, but certainly the Australians, they're the ones, they probably had more entries into our box than we've had into theirs, and that tells you something.
The England substitutes out warming up. That's the applause that you can hear, primarily for Jude Bellingham. Bellingham, one of the subs, 14 on the England bench tonight. A high throw inside the penalty area from the Aussies is headed away and out for another corner. So that's 3 corners without reply. They have only met 7 times, England and Australia. 3 of those in a 7-day period back in 1983. Only ever defeat England have suffered. The first time they met on English soil, Socceroos won 3-1 at West Ham 20 years ago on the Wayne Rooney made his England debut. The Aussies have had the brighter start here. This is their 3rd corner, right-footed, swept in deep, heads go up for it, hit an Aussie head but went back outside the penalty area. It's played back down for Boyle. Boyle dinks it in, and he's taken a touch at the near post. Real scramble, and then volleyed over the bar by Rolls. What a good chance.
I've got to say, Dunk has done absolutely brilliantly there to get his head on 2 efforts that come in the box, and he's going to be absolutely pivotal tonight. The Australians going in with menace and threat to good balls in the box, and England, by luck and judgment, managed to squeeze the ball for a goal kick.
Well, it's fair to say, on the balance of play now, this is a game Australia deserve to be ahead in, yeah?
I'm not sure they've done enough to be ahead in the game, but they've certainly pushed.
And now England will be able to break forward themselves, and the goalkeeper Ryan comes out. Watkins is round him, and it's hit the post. There was an Australian defender covering. It very nearly came back off the post. It rolls and went in. But that's the closest that either side have come. England breaking quickly. Great play by Ollie Watkins, who couldn't quite make it 2-2 for him, albeit at the space of an 18-month period. Really good play by Watkins, who in an Aston Villa shirt on the counter-attack can be lethal, and he showed it again there, just inches away from giving England a 1-0 advantage.
It certainly was a wonderful run by Watkins. It's that trademark run that I saw a couple of weeks ago against Brighton that unhinged them. He's doing exactly the same for England. England have got to be cute enough to keep playing that ball.
Best moment that England have had by some distance so far. Now Grealish linking up the play. Back inside the centre circle to Lewis Dunk. I was also at Villa Park that day, and they were brilliant. Watkins, borderline unplayable really. The way that he was pushing forward, just at the heart of everything that Aston Villa did. He's already this season the first Villa player to score 2 hat-tricks in the same season since Andy Gray did it back in the mid-1970s. And 7 goals to his name in all competitions so far this season. Devonian right at the top of his game. Madison has lost possession here. An opportunity for Australia to bring it forward. Just laid by Irvin back to Suter, to his goalkeeper Ryan, out towards Burgess, and Australia will build again from the back. Stuart?
Trying to second guess Gareth Southgate and his reasoning behind picking Watkins instead of Kane, and he's normally wheeled Harry Kane out. Harry's a different type of player. He doesn't readily run in behind, certainly with pace and menace like Watkins will, and Watkins might be ideal in this game to actually unhinge the Australian backline.
And the Aussies will work it forward down the left flank, and Tamori comes across. His first touch a little bit heavy and goes over the line and out of play for a throw. I mean, this is something perhaps that we should be debating at half-time rather than now, but I wonder if in games like this, where you're playing against teams that are going to have more possession against you, I know that hasn't been the way that this one has worked tonight, but where counter-attacking opportunities might be one of the keys to the game, whether there's a case to be made for playing Kane as a 10 and, say, a Watkins as a 9 ahead of him. Throw inside the penalty area, forthcoming here for Rolls, the Australian left back. Hurled inside the box, headed back in, but not to good effect. It's just dropped down after Goodwin's touch. Bounces on the edge of the 6-yard box into the hands of Sam Johnston.
Yeah, as I say, it's horses for courses. We've spoke in depth about the power of the substitutes bench, but certainly the starting lineup tonight was probably pivotal, and Watkins and probably Bowen as well, their ability to run without the ball is causing the Australians the odd problem.
Only the odd problem at the moment. That might be a source of concern for Gareth Southgate, with the majority of chances coming away to our left rather than away to our right, where England are attacking. Johnston, the busier of the two keepers, gets it away again. Towards halfway. Big head of that from Harry Suter, one of 3 Aberdeen-born players in the starting lineup for the Australians. Martin Ball on the right, and man in possession now, Cam Burgess. Back he goes. Burgess to Suter. Lays it back for his goalkeeper, Matty Ryan. But more live football coming your way tomorrow. Couple of games from League 2, big ones as well. Notts County and Wrexham, the two sides promoted into League 2 last season. They're both in action. County at home to Mansfield, local derby. Kicks off at 12:30 over on TalkSport 2, followed by Wrexham Salford on TalkSport 2. Both of those games exclusive to the network, kicking off at 12:30 and 3 tomorrow. And then WSL action following that, with Chelsea in action against West Ham United. 3 more live games for you over the course of tomorrow here on the TalkSport network. All of those games on TalkSport 2, part of nearly 500 will bring you in all competitions over the course of this season. This one tonight, we're on TalkSport 0-0 with 12 minutes to go to half-time. Strain plays it back inside his own penalty area for Ryan, whose clearance isn't the best. Shank clear. Gallagher heads it on. Looping header from Strain goes out towards the right-hand touchline for Boyle, and the Hibs man is pushed. Cole has fouled him. It's a free kick, and then some afters as well, and more than one little spot of afters, and the referee just takes a watching brief and waits to see if things are going to calm down as Colwell and Bacchus, they both walk back into their respective positions with a smile on their face, but there was plenty of pushing and shoving going on. Hands in the chest from both players to the other. A yellow card shown. A yellow card apiece.
Yeah, as you say, 2 players just chest to chest there, and a little bit of pushing going on. The Aussies took exception to what I thought was some reasonably decent pressurised defending from Colwell.
So Colwell and Bacchus both in the book. That play will restart with a Matt Ryan free kick. Too far outside his own penalty area. England's record in friendlies, we touched on it earlier, has been impeccable. They've won their last 11, 10 of those at home. Probably more pertinently, in those 11 games, they've kept 8 clean sheets. They've only conceded 3 goals, whilst they've scored 24. But clean sheet has led a charmed life at times tonight. Though England have hit the post at the other end. This is Goodwin. Oh, he's done brilliantly. Get between Alexander-Arnold and Gallagher having a little nibble the first time, didn't get him, and made sure he did the second, and that's a yellow card for Conor Gallagher.
I think the point that we laboured on before the game about the physical prowess of the Aussies, whether they're running forward or back, they're running, and whatever team you play against, Jim, if they're physically high output, it causes you a problem.
And England have had 2 players booked in the last minute as a most direct result of it. And the Aussies have another free kick which will be taken on the left-hand side. Boyle is the man that has come across to take it. Portugal have a second at home to Slovakia, incidentally. A Cristiano Ronaldo penalty in that game. They're going to be qualifying tonight. That's his 124th international goal. Which is bad. And here's a free kick, swung in, left-footed by Goodwin. And first contact from an Australian player coming in behind Lewis Dunk, but header straight at Johnston. That was a relatively routine save. Johnston then bowls it out to his left-hand side for Colwell. He'll play it further down the line for Jack Grealish, and England have another chance to try and get going again. Grealish will just hit the space on the left-hand side, and Henderson can hit him with a return pass. And it's worked back in field for Gallagher. England get a free kick after Henderson was fouled, when perhaps the advantage might have worked in their favour there. But Henderson, with his tattooed leg, just feeling his right ankle where he got caught there, but it will be a free kick and an opportunity for England to get the body scored. They've actually taken it short, back for Lewis Dunk. England doing their best to try and inject a little bit of tempo into this game. We might go to the break here on TalkSport, 0-0, and the chances very much at a premium. Jim Bradford and England caretaker manager Stuart Pearce talking through the action here on TalkSport from Wembley. It's not going to be a corner. His goal kick has been given in England's favour as they were put under a little bit of pressure. Colwell correctly from close range judging that the last touch there had come off Metcalf. And goes out of play. Metcalf's done okay. He's not a striker or a second striker by trade, but that's the role that he's been asked to fulfil by Graham Arnold. Plays his club football in the German second division with the Hamburg club St. Pauli, but he's shown up well here.
Well, I think both him and Duke up front have shown bags of energy, both going forward to press the opposition's defence, or alternatively running in behind and getting in the box, and that's really made it very difficult for the England back line.
Metcalf has dropped off this time and found some space, and Boyle only finds the fans behind the goal. It's a took shot from the right-hand side of the penalty area, and it whistled over Johnston's bar and goes out of play for a goal kick. England back in action, of course, on Tuesday, and they've got Italy here. Depending on what happens tomorrow, England might only need a draw in that game to mathematically qualify for the Euros. That would be the case if North Macedonia don't beat Ukraine tomorrow. England against Italy live with the team here on TalkSport. 7 o'clock build-up ahead of a 7:45 kick-off Tuesday night from Wembley here on your England station TalkSport. Suter playing it back to Burgess. Australia also in action on Tuesday. They've got a game against New Zealand at Brentford, which certainly will mean a lot to the players of both of those teams. The footballing ashes, they're calling it. Australia playing it out from the back towards halfway. It's a long one launched forward. Alexander-Arnold can't get it away. Just curved away from him. Not a misjudgment, just the angle on the pass. Boyle linking up. Ball in from Rolls. Alexander-Arnold leaning into it inside the penalty area, but not with his arm. And it'll be cleared by Bowen. Watkins, who's come closer than any England player to breaking the deadlock, links up the play well, and then Grealish can nudge it down the right-hand side for Bowen. But Gallagher making a run outside him. And they played it around the back of Rolls to find him. Now there's space in the midfield for Maddison. Maddison to Watkins. Bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Ollie Watkins' first touch is to come back outside the box, but linking up well outside him is Henderson. Henderson back for Lewis Dunk. And England again stringing the passes together and getting into threatening or semi-threatening positions with a regularity, but then not quite being in a position to play that final pass perceptibly enough to create openings.
No, and on that occasion I've got to give the right back Strain a lot of credit. He got up to Ollie Watkins very, very quickly and forced him backwards, and that was down to good defending. But the Aussies, whether they're running forwards or backwards, they run, and it makes it very difficult to get bodies in the box going forward, and defensively they get numbers behind the ball quickly, and that's what makes them a very good side at international level. And England have probably been roughed up in this game, Jim, I would say, more than any international for many, many a year.
Yeah, Strain has had a good start. His grandfather was a decent player as well in the 60s and 70s, Jerry Baker. who you might remember, older listeners. He played top-flight football for Manchester City and Ipswich and Coventry. He's Ryan Strange's grandfather, grandfather now. And Strain was rather cute, picked up a yellow card for a little bit more roughhouse defending. Strong challenge over on the far touchline, which has given England a chance to whip a set piece in from about 15 yards outside the penalty area over towards the left-hand side. He just dangled out a right foot and knew that Grealish was going to get past him, so wrestled him to the ground.
Well, Grealish has just done in the 39th minute what he should have done in the first minute. Turn round, face the player up and run at him. And Strain is showing, if you run at me, I have a bit of a problem with my decision making.
So in comes the England free kick, and it's headed away by Suter down towards the corner flag, where Australia will make first contact and will be able to get it away. And a lovely turn by Goodwin, might be able to launch a counter-attack. Forward through the midfield, Irvine linking up with Metcalf. Now Mitch Duke, back from Duke to the left-hand side of the midfield for Jackson Irvine again, who had extensive spells in both England and Scotland before he also moved to Germany. Here's Metcalf, his club teammate at St Pauli. Now down towards Burgess. Burgess to Rolls, who's still got a big, thick, dark bandage on his head after that early clash of heads with Jordan Henderson. 4 minutes to go to half-time here on TalkSport. A 0-0, not an awful lot to write home about from an England perspective so far on what's very definitely a night of experimentation. You'll have your chance to react to whatever happens over the course of the remainder of the evening on the sports bar with Adam Catterall and Jermaine Pennant later. England in possession again, but in a much deeper position now with Alexander-Arnold going back to Johnston, whose stunning early save is still one of the best moments of the night from an England perspective. And the men in white and dark blue will just be able to bring it forward again now. Henderson down towards Fikayo Tomori. Tomori 8 yards or so inside his own half. And defender back for Lewis Dunk, and now forward for Colwell. By Colwell, who won 10 caps for the under-21s and started all of the big games in that victorious European Championship campaign in the summer. Has it again now. Slowed down a walking pace, almost to a standstill just for a moment, just to try and invite the press from Duke. Now Colwell will play it forward. There's some pass as well. 50 yards forward between the lines into the feet of Watkins, who did well to hold it up under duress with Suter trying to make life difficult. Goes out towards Grealish. Crossfield pass from him for Jared Bowen, who hasn't seen too much of the ball in the last 15. Bowen with a good ball also between the lines, and then an excellent run, gets on the overlap, tries to drive inside, wins a corner, which is England's first, coming 2.5 minutes before the break.
Yeah, the big thing in the game is, unless you ask the Australian backline any questions, as in run at them quickly with the ball, little give and goes, clever play going forward, then they'll be comfortable within their defensive work.
So a chance to fire this corner in. 5 in white inside the box. Grealish showing for the short one. Maddison has actually played a short one at a different angle for Alexander-Arnold. A little flick header, scooped, but easily picked up by Matt Ryan. Very well worked set piece. It was Jared Bowen that got his head to it, just leaning back, almost a sort of diving header on the twist. But Ryan made a comfortable save. Wasn't happy with the pressure on the ball actually, and just indicated to the officials that he wanted to change it, wanted a replacement. Seemingly wasn't happy with the replacement one either. And now a third one gets thrown on, and the play will be able to resume with a throw to England, which they just returned to Ryan. I mean, put the ball out of play so it could be changed. So everybody happy again. 90 seconds to go to half-time. Not an awful lot of time to be added on. You wouldn't think, but then these days I guess you never know. Here's Goodwin. Play back towards Rolls. Rolls diverting it forward. Backus. And force that really good save from Johnson, and a lovely ball speared over the top, and it's a good run from Boyle towards the edge of the penalty area, and Boyle turning it onto his right foot. They got a man over, and Johnson got a foot to the shot to beat it away and put it over the bar. Another glorious opportunity for Australia, if anything, and just a little bit too deliberate with the effort from Ryan Strain, and a combination of Johnson and Dunk came back to make sure that the goal bound effort was diverted over the bar.
Well, point in case there, the Aussies won the ball in behind, a great ball in behind, and it caught England napping a bit at the back. And once they got the ball in advanced areas, the numbers they get into advanced areas quickly is brilliant. And Dunk, who's headed a couple out the box already, done his goalkeeper an absolute monumental favour.
Australia's fourth corner as we approach half-time. Nothing strange taking his head out of his hands yet, still so frustrated with the fact that he didn't give the Aussies the lead there. Suter waits by the penalty spot, Burgess just behind him. Duke is inside the 6-yard box, and there are 3 others in gold and green inside that 6 as the ball is swept in, headed down into the ground and over the bar and out of play. Suter that came to meet it, but powering a header into the ground, he just looked up innocuously onto the roof of the net. We're in 1 added minute at the end of this first half here on TalkSport. England 0, Australia 0.
Yeah, Suter peeled round the back from the penalty spot, and Colwell done quite well to stay with the run, but the only thing that got in his way, I think, was a colleague of his, luckily for England.
Johnston with the clearance, a long goal kick forward inside the centre circle. And England winning back with the ball played back towards Suter, and Watkins chasing everything, has done well to be able to pick it up. Now they played him inside the penalty area. Can he get it across? Has he been fouled? Referee gives a corner. Sliding challenge coming in on him on the edge of the 6-yard box, and the ball's diverted away for a very late England corner before half-time. Good challenge from Suter.
Once again, quality play, ball in behind the Australian backline. It's that galloping Watkins again, but I've got to say Suter's come from absolutely nowhere with his telescopic leg and got a fantastic challenge in.
I didn't realise Inspector Gadget was eligible to play for Australia. It was a very well-worked counter-attack from England and a few isolated boos from England supporters as the half-time whistle goes. And Australia with 2 or 3 really clear-cut opportunities. Ollie Watkins has shown up well at the other end and hit the post. He's had England's best moments. It hasn't been 45 minutes to write home about. But on a night of experimentation, Gareth Southgate might have had a few questions answered. Half-time, England 0, Australia 0. Adrian, thank you very much indeed. We will have all the reaction, your reaction and that from the England camp directly at the end of this game on the Sports Bar weekend. 3717-223344 will be the number that will enable you to fully participate. Will we be reacting to an England win, a 12th successive friendly victory, or perhaps an Australia victory? First in 20 years against England. We're back underway with England not having made any changes at half-time. I'll run through the 2 teams for you in a moment. England kicking from right to left as we look at it, defending the West stand here at Wembley. A long ball for Ollie Watkins to chase. Suter's there first, and he can clip it into space where Grealish can't pick it up, and he'll work it back behind him for Colwell. So, it's Johnson in goal. Alexander-Arnold at right back, but dropping into midfield alongside Henderson. Tamori, Duncan, Colwell, and then Henderson anchoring the midfield with Maddison and Gallagher, who perhaps is a little bit fortunate still to be on the field. He's been booked. There was a very bad challenge for him before the yellow card on Cam Burgess, which might also have seen the yellow card at least. And then Bowen and Grealish wide with Maddison in support of Watkins up top. Now, Australia in possession in the left back area, getting it clear through rolls. England can win it back and work it back inside their own half. The Aussies, Matty Ryan in goal. Strange, Suter, Burgess and Rolls. Boyle, Bacchus, Irvine and Goodwin. And then Metcalf and Duke, the front 2. England see James Maddison making a darting run, a dynamic run past Ollie Watkins, but the pass wasn't forthcoming. And the ball will be laid by Colwell back for Dunn. Those are the teams for England and Australia. Our team, I'm Jim Bradford alongside Stuart Pearce with Adrian Durham and our England correspondent Faye Carruthers as well. Stuart, are you surprised there have been no changes as yet?
Yes and no. I said to you at half-time, probably he was either going to make 3 or 4 or none at all. He's obviously gone down the route of none at all and said to the players, look, I'm going to give you a fair old tilt at this one.
Boyle stumbled. Colwell takes advantage of that, tries to work it forward, can't pick up Watkins, and the ball goes through for Ryan away to the left hand side. England coming into this 5 wins in 6, 7 in the last 10, only 60 defeats in 49, and they're unbeaten here in 17 games at Wembley since Denmark won a match in 2020. That's the best run that England have had here at Wembley Stadium, the old site or the new site, since Stuart's days back between 1984 and 1990. It might be tested tonight. Here's Metcalf making his way forward towards the edge of the penalty area for Australia, and there's space. Alexander-Arnold getting out there now. Goodwin has chopped back inside. His touch was heavy, and one of the England players, it was Gallagher, nearly made contact. He just stopped short of diving in. Goodwin was able to play back outside the penalty area, but any contact there would have been a penalty. When the cross is forthcoming in towards Duke, Tamori deals with it and knocks it out of play for a throw that will be taken over on the Australian left. 3 gone second half, 0-0 on TalkSport.
Yeah, I think when the dust settles on this fixture, this is a very, very good fixture for England to take. You know, when you talk about tournament football, you're coming up against a team here that are offering you something slightly different, different questions, a physical challenge, and I think for England and their progression, this isn't a bad game to take.
Qualified for each of the last 5 World Cups, the Australians, who finished second in their World Cup group last time out after victories against Tunisia and Denmark, who whistle's gone for a foul inside the England penalty area, and it will be a free kick which Sam Johnston will take. You'll then remember that they lost 2-1 to Argentina in the round of 16 and very nearly equalised in stoppage time in that game and take it to extra time. They played well, they gave a very good account of themselves. They have done again tonight. At the risk of labouring the point, they very much are a team where some of the parts is far exceeded by the total. The individuals on paper, you might look at it and say, well, none of those will get in an England side. Look at the better team so far. Ball in the possession of Levi Colwell. Ball towards Jack Grealish. Grealish coming in off the left flank, just plays the way that he's facing and goes back for Johnston again. Johnston controlling it and then working it back through the penalty area, but very safely to find Lewis Dunk, and Dunk will be able to bring it out from the back. Australia ranked 27th in the world in the FIFA list, 28th in the probably slightly more accurate ELO ratings, where England is 6th, 4th in the FIFA list. The Australians' last victory against the side ranked in the top 10 was against Germany back in 2011. Here's Jared Bowen making his way forward, gets to the bar and pulled in for Maddison. His touch was a little bit heavy. He's done well to be able to pull it back. And our stresses at the Aussie back line. Suter just didn't take any chances, got it clear. A bit hair scare in the Australian 6-yard box, but Suter got it clear and put it out of play for an England corner.
Really good play there. Once again, Bowen picks it up. He's got one thing on his mind. You can draw a line between where he receives it and the centre of the goal, and he runs straight along that line, asking questions at the fullback. Good play by Bowen.
5 gone in the second half. England 0, Australia 0. First corner of the second half, Maddison's going to take it. It's a right-footed outswinger in towards the near post, where Bowen had made a run for him, but it was headed away before he got there. Henderson back for Alexander-Arnold. Lovely turn from him under duress. Then a right-footed effort, fizzed in from distance. Appeals for handball. It must have deflected off an England player on its way through. It did. It's gone out of play for a goal kick. Alexander-Arnold smacking one in from distance, but it hit Grealish and goes out of play wide of the post for a goal kick that Ryan will take for Australia.
Yeah, I think when Southgate decides to make a few changes, which I'm sure he will, I certainly hope that Bellingham doesn't come off, you know, with his penchant for flaring up a little bit. I don't think the Aussies will be respectful of any reputation at all, and might see that they can get under his skin a little bit, let's say.
A chance to rile him potentially. Bellingham, one of the England subs, will be big hitters, most of the big hitters on the bench for England tonight. That's really good play by Boyle, left-sided midfielder for Australia, then worked forward by the left back. Goodwin then will sweep it forward looking for Duke. Well, England can mop up safely enough at the back. The England bench, for the record, Trippier, Maguire, Walker, Stones, Gurhey, and then Rice, Rashford, Kane, Foden, Phillips, and Kedira and Bellingham. And a couple of keepers as well. Here's James Maddison, left-hand side of the penalty area. Little shimmy, plays it back for Jack Grealish. Grealish trying to make headway inside the penalty area, can't get past Bacchus. And it's cleared by the Australians out as far as Trent Alexander-Arnold. He goes back for Jordan Henderson. Just the third cap of the calendar year. Tonight, Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's more than he won in any of the 3 previous calendar years. Henderson with the feet of Maddison. And Maddison goes back for Dunn. Maddison able to pick it up again and flick it the outside of the boot down for Levi Colwell. And there's a sort of a buzz of chatter around Wembley Stadium rather than active noise from the supporters, which tells you everything you need to know. The Australians have silenced the crowd by and large. High ball inside the penalty area claimed by Johnston when a slip ball down the right-hand side for Boyle might have worked much more effectively. England now can bring it away as Johnston balls it out, and he played down towards Watkins, so Watkins can turn, and Watkins will run at the back line. Suter trying to force him round the back. He's done well to get it in, and then attacking the near post. Grealish couldn't get the touch he wanted. Knows how to play for a corner. Good play, Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, if you play slowly and play cautiously, the Aussies get back in numbers and can deal with it. If you run at them and ask them questions, dipping in, going outside, it's caused a big problem. Well done to Watkins on that occasion, but Suter done well just to stay with him.
England's fourth corner, worked short. Maddison for Grealish, who's inside the penalty area. He's played back. Bowen trying a left-footed effort, but he scuffed it. It was really well worked. A little 1-2. Grealish making his way inside the penalty area. Everybody expecting a ball delivered inside the 6. He pulled it back near the penalty spot. Bowen didn't get hold of it, and the chance came to nothing. A little bit of frustration on the edge of the England technical area as a result of that. What that they worked on that they just couldn't quite execute effectively. Play forward by Tomori for England. His possession in the first half was around 70% mark, although it's Australia that have had the lion's share of the chances. Play forward here towards Watkins and cleared by Suter. And then Grealish taking it off the left flank. He beat a couple, but not the third. Bacchus, the central midfielder, then fouled by the retreating Grealish. Maybe a free kick will be taken by Australia about 15 yards inside their own half. You would talk sports 0-0 with 10 minutes into the second period. This is the first game that England have played in 2023 where they haven't scored before half-time. They've got a good record defensively in the first half of games that they have been able to extend tonight. But offensively, this has been a rare blank up to this point anyway. No blank for Kylian Mbappe in France tonight. They're 2-0 up away to the Netherlands. They've beaten 4-0 earlier in the qualification campaign. And if they win tonight, they're through to the Euros. It's looking like a formality. This is the night that Ireland are going to be mathematically eliminated. They're 2-0 down at home to Greece. England, depending on the result tomorrow, might only need a draw against Italy. The result that matters tomorrow, Ukraine against North Macedonia. Australia working the ball inside the box. Johnston can claim that. And that England-Italy game is live here, right here on TalkSport Tuesday night with Adrian with the build-up from 7. With Faith Carruthers and Stuart alongside me for the game from 7:45. It's Cole playing for Jordan Henderson. We're 10 minutes into the second half and there's still very little sign of an England break.
Yeah, there certainly isn't. I'm just thinking at some stage Gareth's going to reach for the substitutes bench, and I think he'd probably Bowen and Watkins are two that probably don't deserve to come off the pitch. I think they've done quite well this evening, and I would like to see them at least a lion's share of the 90 minutes.
Is the implication now that anybody else possibly does deserve to be hooked off?
Well, yeah. Yes. Within reason. I think the back line, I think Dunk's done okay, and they've been reasonably okay at the back. But if you're looking to get a goal in the game, I think Jack Grealish's position might be up for grabs. Maybe Gallagher's, Henderson's, definitely. They're three that probably spring to mind if you're looking to improve it slightly.
Well, James Maddison has won a free kick here for England. We're in the 57th minute at Wembley. The rain, which was coming down with real ferocity in the warm-up, and most of that first half is now abated. Australia keeping a line on the edge of the penalty area as Madison prepares to sweep this free kick. He's just changed the angle and the line of attack. It's going to be a right-footed in-swing with plenty of whip. He just didn't get enough height to clear Suter. And it's easily headed away and goes out towards the England right-hand side. Alexander-Arnold swinging one, too deep for Dunn. Grealish! And it's put in. And England lead. Ollie Watkins sliding into the far post. He's there to score. Jack Grealish whistling a cross-come shot towards the far post. It may well have been going in. Watkins not in a position to take any chances. Slides in, bubbles it in. England have not been great, but they lead, courtesy of another international goal for Ollie Watkins. 2-2 for him.
Well, I've got to say, absolutely delighted for Watkins. I think his general all-round play deserves to get on the score sheet. I think it might have been going in potentially from Grealish, but he certainly just got there before it was crossing the line. No offside there, no chance of that, and a good finish. Just as Gareth Southgate was tinkering with the bench, I think there's wholesale changes about to happen. Phillips, Rashford, John Stones amongst the subs.
Watkins there to slide it in. I think Jack Grealish thought that it was probably going in as well. But Watkins, arch predator, scored in his last appearance against the Ivorians back in March 2022 in his only previous international start. And he scores in his second international start as well to give England a 1-0 lead. Australia then get the ball from the kickoff, work it down the left-hand side of the box, played in towards Goodwin. Goodwin with a sharp chance, which Johnson at his near post did well to divert. He's just taken a slight deflection, was probably going wide. Johnston helped it on its way to the side netting. And out of play for an Aussie corner as they look to get themselves back on level terms almost immediately. Plenty of movement inside that penalty area. Metcalf waits on the edge of the six Jukers, the far post area. Backus right in front of the goalkeeper. He peels away along with Irvine. And England win first contact at the near post and now will be able to break clear down the left-hand side. Leading by a goal to nil. Sliding challenge comes in from Goodwin. And he's stopped Colwell on the counter-attack. That'll be a free kick to England, and that will give them the opportunity to make this quadruple substitution. So Trippier coming on, Stones and Phillips. There are three of the four that are going to be introduced, and Marcus Rashford, who's got a little bit of history against Australia, is going to be coming on as well. Last time the two sides met, 2-1 victory for England in Sunderland back in 2016. Rashford, just 18 years of age, scored within 3 minutes of his debut. Became England's youngest ever debutant goal scorer that day. 7 years on, he's going to be coming on in a moment for his 56th international appearance. And he's scored another 15 goals since. Australia trailing 1-0. They feel that they don't deserve to be behind. They're a little bit more proactive now. Try to take the ball forward to England. Gallagher's there to knock it away. And shanks it clear, goes out for a throw which can take it over on that far side. The changes happen now. The fourth official has got the numbers board in his hand, and yes, England will go through the myriad of changes. But they lead by a goal nil, one that certainly will have settled the nerves for Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, it certainly will. I mean, Watkins, he's done brilliantly there. Typical striker's instinct, just getting in at the back post, just nudging it over the goal line, and I think Gareth will be absolutely delighted they've got their nose in front. And if you've been Rashford now sitting and watching the game, you would say, when I receive that ball, I'm going straight for their goal and taking the ball back on.
So Rashford for Grealish is the first change. A few boos to Jordan Henderson as he leaves the field. He's going to be replaced by Kieran Trippier. Stones and Calvin Phillips coming on as well. Conor Gallagher's another England player that will make way. So just waiting for the identity of the fourth England player who's going to be coming off. And it's going to be Tamori. So those changes then. Trippier, Stones, Rashford and Phillips on. Tamori, Henderson, Gallagher and Grealish, the players that have come off. And presumably that means that Alexander-Arnold will come forward into midfield now.
I'm sure he had a thought process going into the game, what substitutions he potentially might make. but if you're asking me as well, that's been slightly tainted on the fact that probably the weakest of the four players in the lineup have been taken off the pitch, in my opinion.
So those four to come off. Tomori at centre half, Henderson and Gallagher in midfield, and Grealish on the left-hand side. Marcus Rashford playing on that left flank. And so Alexander-Arnold just vacates the right-back position. Trippier's going to play there, and Trent is now anchoring the midfield. And that's the role that Gareth Southgate foresees him in for England. When the squad list is ever named, he's always down these days as a midfielder and not as a defender in the official FA publications. The ball is out of play here for a throw, which will be taken by the Australians on the right-hand side. The trail 1-0, we played 62 minutes, so a premeditated quartet of substitutions happening on the hour mark. Rashford on for his 56th appearance. So John Stones, back from injury, missed the September games with a thigh problem. He started that match against Australia in Sunderland back in 2016. He's on for his 68th appearance. 50 of those have come in competitive internationals as well. He's the only ever present at England's last 2 World Cups of the outfield players. Ball played forward by Suter for Australia, and the industrious Duke wins a throw, or concedes a throw. It's come off him last. I thought he might just have been able to nick it into dunk, but it has come off him last. Now to play for a throw that will be taken on the England left-hand side by Colwell. 63 gone, England 1, Australia 0 here on TalkSport. And here's the former England captain, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, as I say, the new players into the game are going to have to get into the swing of the game and be aware and get up to the level of the physicality of the Australians. But I think, with the addition of Rashford on this side of the pitch, Bowen on that side, and Watkins, we've got 3 players that certainly will threaten the ball either running with or without, and that could cause the Australians a bit of a problem going forward.
1-0 England winning tonight. And remember, they take on Italy here on Tuesday. Build up at 7. Then a 7:45 kick-off for a match that, depending on what happens tomorrow between Ukraine and North Macedonia, England might only need a point to qualify, and a victory could see them finish top of the group with 2 games to spare. We'll find out together here Tuesday night on TalkSport. Rashford on the end of a long diagonal, played by Trippier in his direction. Rashford cutting inside the penalty area, the touch just a wee bit heavy, and Boyle could come across and put it out of play. And it goes out for an England corner, which will be taken on the left flank, but just outstretched your left palm as if to say, look, I told you, that's what it's all about.
Well, Rashford's picked the ball up a couple of times now when he's driven at the fullback, and the fullback just can't deal with him. Unless you ask a question of a fullback, you do not know the answer. And Rashford's done exactly that. I mean, he's been watching the game, and I'm sure the manager said, just run at him.
So corner from the England left-hand side, in with pace, but 3 Australian players closest to it to attack it. Right-footed effort comes back in from Watkins, hit an Aussie defender and almost spilled out of the left-hand side of the penalty area for Stones. He will get another opportunity to be able to bring it forward, and they will get another corner as a left-footed effort from Trent Alexander-Arnold deflects off Rolls and goes out of play for England's 4th corner of this second half.
Yeah, really good play there by Alexander-Arnold. Ball spilled out to him on the right-hand side, a little foot over, mesmerised the back line of Australia, and he just couldn't get his left foot shot away clean enough.
So Madison across to take this one as well. Rashford offering himself for the short one, and Madison obliges, and Rashford again with a little drop of the shoulder and then another. Dummies being sold to commentators and Australian defenders alike. When the cross comes in towards the near post for Watkins, but hammered away again by Goodwin. Now out of play for a throw that will be taken over on the England right. And this is an element, we've talked about it pretty consistently over the last couple of years in particular, Stuart, that it's a real long suit for England. The fact that they've got so much strength in depth against nearly every club, every nation, including the real elite nations. I think England's numbers probably 16 to 24 in any given squad is better than anybody else in the world, and it's an area that England can capitalise upon. And so you would expect that in the final quarters of games, England should be sharp, should be able to see things out with higher quality substitutes than the opposition can usually muster.
Yeah, that is definitely the case, and the power of the subs bench this day and age in modern day football would be very, very prevalent in that respect. But every time England play, you spend probably a good half hour in the build-up to the game talking about maybe 6, 7, 8 players that are not even in the squad that probably might be.
And in terms of this squad, no James or Saka or Shaw because of injury.
Eze.
And Bertie Eze as well, absolutely. Ben Chilwell not called up, Mason Mount not called up. Raheem Sterling still available as well. Australia are able to bring the ball forward. It's Backus who came close in the first half. It doesn't come close from there. 35 yards out. The most optimistic effort hit with the top of his right boot. And it's gone straight along the deck and out of play past Sam Johnson's post for a goal kick. We're midway through the second half. England leading by a goal to nil. The scoreline has improved. The performance in the second half has marginally as well, but still plenty for you to get your teeth into on the sports bar with the guys who will be taking your calls. You can book them now, 3717 223344. Adam Casserell and former Liverpool man Jermaine Pennant taking your calls interspersed with all of the reaction from the tunnel here at Wembley with our correspondent Faye Carruthers. We'll hear from Gareth Southgate and the headline makers as well. England leading it by a goal to nil with Ollie Watkins, the man on target. His 8th goal of the season for club and country. The Aussies are going to be making a triple change in a moment, of which more in a moment with England in possession. Stones, so dependable, dropping deep. Harry Maguire's name being sung by the England supporters. He's going to be coming on shortly. Rashford. Foden certainly is going to be coming on for England in a moment. He's just emerged from the bench. His number 21 visible. And the free kick has gone Australia's way. They're going to be able to make the changes now. They're going to be bringing Miller on, and Boss and Barella. They're the 3 incoming Socceroos. Here's Matty Ryan. Playing it outside the penalty area to the left-hand side. He got a ball back that he didn't necessarily want at that angle, but he was able to deal with it and get it clear. And it comes down the right flank and then Stray. Just can't hide his frustration as he angles one right down the right-hand touchline and misses his target by 10 yards or so, and he goes out of play for a throw that England will take. 7:20 to go. Foden coming on, and we're also going to see an international debut for Arsenal's Eddie Nketiah. Nketiah, who is eligible for Ghana, as has been well publicised over the last 48 hours or so. He qualifies for Ghana through his parents, and they are desperate, Chris Hughton, their manager, for Nketiah to switch allegiance, but he's about to come on for his England debut, which won't rule out that switch, incidentally, because this is not a competitive game. But Nketiah will be on very shortly. The Aussies in possession, down by the England corner flag. But they're looking increasingly weary. Watkins with a physical challenge, a fair one, got it away from Boyle. Backus has done well to win it back from Rashford. Now Backus will just flick it down the right-hand touchline for Boyle. Boyle trying to get to the right-hand side of the area, and then the dugout, and then the byline, and he's just dug out the cross, which Johnston can save comfortably at the near post. It hasn't gone out of play, so the 5 subs who are waiting are still bobbing up and down on their feet and waiting for the opportunity to come on. Madison's got it again. Watkins, who you would imagine will be the man replaced by Nketiah, has done his long-term prospects of power good tonight.
I think he's had a solid game, you know. He's got himself on the score sheet, as you would hope, as a striker, and on top of that he's led the line well, he's running behind, and he's the one, I think, that's caused the Aussies the most problem.
Belgium are going to be qualifying for the Euros, the 3 up in Austria, a winner of that one qualifying tonight. France are going to be qualifying as well. They're 2-0 up in the Netherlands, Portugal 2-1 up at home to Slovakia, so they've finally conceded their first goal of this qualification tournament, having scored 26. But if they can hold on, then they will also be booking their place tonight. England can do it on Tuesday at home to Italy here on TalkSport. This one 1-0 without being a vintage performance. Phillips working forward down the right hand side of the area. He slipped in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, didn't quite get to Watkins, and was just in behind James Maddison.
I think there's another player that's done himself no harm at all, Bowen. Bowen might be one of the ones coming off now for Foden, potentially, but I think he's done himself no harm. Made a couple of very good runs in behind with and without the ball.
Saddest thing, stand to be on the winning side, which is something that hasn't happened in his brief international career so far. It's 4 previous caps, all coming in a 10-day period in that dreadful Nations League campaign back in the summer of last year, where England, for a variety of reasons, were unable to do themselves justice. And so the change is being made. Madison off to be replaced by Foden. And Madison will get a good ovation. Not been at his sparkling best tonight, but when you consider that for a long time he couldn't get into the England squad at all, he's a pretty permanent fixture now. In terms of the applause, the fantasy leaves the field. So Foden for Madison, and Ollie Watkins leaves the field, a goal scorer, and he'll be replaced by Eddie Nketiah, who was the 100th player called up by Gareth Southgate and becomes the 59th debutant of Southgate's reign. The Arsenal man comes on, big ovation for him as he comes on for the final 20 minutes of this game.
Yeah, as I say, Watkins can be rightly proud of his performance and gives Gareth another option up front. Madison's been okay tonight. I wouldn't say he's caught the eye, but he's been okay within the group.
Well, the Australians making changes as well. Miller, Boss and Barello are the players that are coming on. Goodwin off, Strain has come off at right back, and Matt Duke also makes way. So in terms of shuffling things around, Jordan Boss is a full-back at just 20, who plays his club football in Belgium. He only made his debut back in March. He's ordinarily a left-back. He's come on. Is he going to be playing at right back up against Marcus Rashford? Looks that way. They've also brought Lewis Miller on. In fact, Miller has come on and Miller is playing at right back. That's how they've shuffled things around. So Miller on for Strain at right back. Barello for Duke up front. Boss has come on, and he's going to play on the left-hand side of midfield, not his usual position, but he's just going to replace Goodwin there as a more defensive option on that left flank for the Aussies. Change has been made, 16 minutes to go. England leading Australia by a goal to nil. Straight swaps as far as England are concerned, and Eddie Nketiah getting his opportunity. Nketiah, who's got a couple of Premier League goals this season, comes into this on the back of 7 without a goal in all competitions for Arsenal. Here's Johnston. Johnson just driving it forward, down towards the England left-hand side. Rashford's touches seem to go over the touchline and out of play for a throw which will be taken on the Australian right-hand side. 1-0 England on TalkSport.
Yeah, from England's point of view, I think they'll be pleased if they could get another goal just to punctuate this, but I would say at this moment in time, with some of the skirmishes in and around our goal mouth, a clean sheet will be just as welcome.
With this outstanding record in friendlies in particular, defensively. They've only conceded 3 goals in the last 11 friendlies they've played. And this will be a 12th straight victory in a friendly. But an opportunity for Australia to bring it forward. Barello. And then a shot coming in from the edge of the penalty area from Metcalf. That was blocked. And the Aussies win a 50-50 in the midfield. Irvine complaining that he was fouled. Play allowed to continue, and England will be able to bring it out from the back over on the far touchline. And they win a throw. That was good gallivanting play by John Stones, who has developed so much over the last 2-3 years. And real confidence with the ball at his feet now. Barnes back and back, winning a throw to be taken over on the England right-hand side. England 1, Australia 0.
Yeah, it's good to see John Stones back, certainly for his club, but probably more importantly from our perspective, back for playing for his country. He's a massive plus for England. Johnston,
out the back for England, Played out towards Dunk across the edge of his own penalty area towards the right-hand side. Coming up Monday morning here on TalkSport. No Ali McCoy's, but Natalie Sawyer deputising alongside Andy Townsend. Monday from 6 on the TalkSport breakfast, and then from 10, Jim White and Simon Jordan returning. And don't forget, if you fancy something a little bit different on your morning commute, you can check out the Chris Evans Breakfast Show weekdays from 6:30. That's on Virgin Radio, which you can listen to by downloading the app or catch Virgin Radio on DAB. It's Phil Foden bringing the ball for England, who lead 1-0. The result, scoreline, the best part of the night so far. Alexander-Arnold getting it in there and looking for Nketiah. I don't think he's had a touch yet, but his interest just peaked on the quality of that ball in. Foden, brilliant. Rode 2 or 3 challenges and then just slipped it off balance to his left-hand side to Levi Colwill. That was magnificent play by Foden. Back from Colwill again. Phillips and the right-hand side where Trippier's touch was a wee bit light, but Stones was still there, able to go. Alexander-Arnold back out towards Trippier again, and back goes to Stones once more. And Stones, 15 yards inside the Australian half, will lay it back through the midfield and out towards Foden. Foden heavily involved since coming off the bench. Rashford trying to be likewise, gets to the byline, pulls it in, and Nketiah the target, and the Aussies again able to clear.
Yeah, good play there, switched it out. The wide players are getting enough room to receive the ball and get a half turn on, and once Rashford on an even foot race, you do well to stay with Rashford.
Marcus Rashford back in Premier League action next Saturday. Manchester United away at Sheffield United. We've got that live for you and exclusive on TalkSport. 8 o'clock kickoff at Bramall Lane. Game day exclusive next Saturday. A week tomorrow is the Merseyside derby. 12:30 kickoff. Liverpool against Everton. Build up from 11. And the game from 12:30 next Saturday. Sam Milner facing the chair for Liverpool against Everton on TalkSport. And more like football for you tomorrow. A couple of games from League 2. Notts County Mansfield and then Wrexham Salford kicking off at 12:30 and 3 respectively. They're both over on TalkSport 2 if you've got the TalkSport app. It's very easy to find it, or you can also go on DAB for TalkSport 2. Ball out of play, Jackson Irvine not happy and has talked his way, pointed his way, shouted his way into the book. A combination of all 3, but he's telling the referee Stephanie Frappard what he thought, and she produced the yellow card by way of response.
Yeah, he certainly, he was very vocal.
A little bit of Aussie invective. Could read his lips on the monitors. It didn't take much translating. French referee Stephanie Frappard. Foden. Played for by Colwill, and then Nketiah beaten by the much taller Suter. Suter has only started 1 league game for Leicester since his... Well, only started once this season, should I say, for Leicester City. Harry Suter, the ball over on the left-hand side for the Aussies. An opportunity when they're only 1-0 down to try and get back into the game, and Boss making good headway inside the penalty area. Just forced Trippier to tap the ball out of play so England could reset, and it's an Australian corner.
Yeah, as I say, I think Trippier made the right choice there. He was going back towards his own goal on the touchline. 2 Aussie players converging on him. Best way of doing it, just pop it behind and redefend, refocus.
So a corner, Australia's first of the second half, which will be taken from the left. Plenty of air underneath it. Heads go up and it's wide. What a good chance that was. England defensively just had no answer. A real head-in-hand moment. Metcalf, maybe a little bit of pulling going on in there, but he's arrived late at the far post and he's headed it wide from only about 6 yards out.
No, I think he's hit the post, Jim. He's hit the outside of the post, I think. It was a free header, that is for sure. Yes, I think he has. And should have done a lot better there. The Aussies loading up with 7 players in the box and England struggled to deal with it.
From the resulting goal kick, there's been a turnover of possession and Australia will come again. So Metcalf hitting the post as Watkins did in the first half for England. Same post, in fact, the one on the right-hand side away to our right. Foden goes down, Rashford gets it away, whistle's gone. There's a free kick to England. Foden sits on the deck, Rashford likewise after those respective challenges. A double change will be made by Australia. The final changes We're going to see Mabel come on. It looks as though it might be Bajic as well that will be joining him. So those are the final changes. Graham Arnold preparing to rotate the pack and try and get Australia back into this game. England with possession inside their own penalty area with Duncan. Stones was expecting that. They did get it forward okay. England trying to win the second ball in the midfield, but there was another foul committed, a free kick given away. Bacchus, the player that was caught, and it's going to be a free kick that will be taken by the Aussies in the central area, about 30 yards outside the penalty area. They're not going to make this double change until after the set piece, I don't think. They're loading the penalty area and an opportunity to try and get back into it from a set piece. They've only had one set piece in the second half. There was that corner a few moments ago that Metcalf headed against the outside of the post.
I think this is one that might be just too straight. I think they're going to have to work an angle.
Boyle teases it in towards the left-hand side of the area, and when it was headed on, it was easy for Johnson to watch wide, and you called it.
Yeah, when you've got a free kick so straight, it was literally in the centre of the goal, some 40 yards out. You've got to move the ball wide and create the angle.
So the double change, we'll see Rolls come off, and Bajic will replace him, and Boyle is coming off, and he'll be replaced by our Mabel, who plays his club football, the Kenyan-born winger for Grasshoppers in Switzerland. He got a couple of goals in the Swiss League last weekend and scored against Ecuador in his last international appearance. So he comes on, and the experience as is Bajic, who recently left Dundee United to join Melbourne City, comes on for his 60th cap. That's the end of the changes, as Rashford will bring the ball forward and find Eddie Nketiah, left-hand side of the area, try to square it back for Rashford, and is steered away by Mabel and put out of play for an England corner.
Yeah, good incisive play there by England involving Nketiah and Rashford. Little interchange, a little give and go, and the Aussies just scrambling it cleared for a corner behind.
Cristiano Ronaldo has scored again. Portugal leading Slovakia 3-2 in that game. Well, 3-1 up, it's now back to 3-2. Ronaldo's got a couple of those. Belgium 3-1 up in Austria. They're set to qualify tonight. Onana sent off for Belgium, but they lead 3-1. In comes Foden's corner. It's headed away towards the edge of the penalty area. Trippier puts his hands up to protest his innocence as there was a coming together in the midfield. Australia win the second ball and can try and get it clear out towards the left-hand side for Mabel, but it was easily read by the retreating Trippier, who then just goes out of reverse and back in the fifth gear and pushes forward again up the far touchline. Now on the right-hand side of the penalty area, another opportunity for England to try and deliver. Wasn't forthcoming from Jarrod Bowen. He tried to get outside the full-back and Bajic wouldn't let him. It goes out of play for a throw to be taken over on the England right-hand side. Seeing the game out now as 6 minutes to go, leading by a goal to nil. The result will be of psychological importance to an extent going into that game against Italy on Tuesday that we'll bring you here on TalkSport. Maintaining England's unbeaten record through 2023 so far. Coleman getting the feet of Rashford. Nice turn by Rashford. Now comes forward over halfway. He's got Nketiah ahead of him. The best thing we could hope for there was a throw, but the referee indicated that there was a pull by Rashford. It's going to be a free kick which will be taken on the Australian right.
World football has got to solve this situation of officials just giving free kicks for individuals falling on the floor, Jim. Honestly, it's just, I think they look and see someone on the floor, think, well, someone must have put him on the floor, so it must be a free kick. And quite often it isn't this day and age.
Another goal back for Austria. They were 3-0 down. They're a man up now and it's 3-2. Sabitzer, the former Man United player, scored that. Here's Mabel inside the England penalty area for Australia, getting the byline and it's pushed in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It was well attacked and England just able to scramble it clear with a foot from Lewis Dunk. That was close. It goes out of play for a corner. England haven't won this yet.
Tell you what, Dunk got his positional play right just there. Colwell showed him too much at the outside and he took the invitation, pulled it back, and Dunk Extremely well played positioning.
Irvine made a good run forward. Just couldn't quite find him. Dunk steers it away. And a play for a corner that will be taken by Alan Mabel on the Australian right-hand side. They trail by a goal to nil. It's only a fourth game without a win for the Aussies. Looks that way at the moment, but they'll take great credit from the performance and from the result if they could get an equaliser here. Mabel with plenty of air underneath the corner. It's headed back down. Good save by Johnston. He falls for an England player inside the penalty area and will be cleared. Foden digging it away. Rashford turned as the challenge was about to come in on him. England get it forward towards Nketiah. While Australia were able to mop up at the back and work it back, but England defending set pieces have looked all over the place.
Well, they have, but you've got to give the Aussies credit here. They ask big questions. Good delivery in the box, 6 and 7 in the area, and physicality, and people that actually want to go and head the ball, Jim.
And it's Australia ending this strongly. Mabel wins another corner, swinging it in. And it's hit Colwell and goes out for their 7th corner. Miller's caused problems down the right-hand side since he's come on. Lewis Miller, one of the Hibs contingent involved, a regular starter at Hibs this season. And he's waiting on the edge of the penalty area. Mabel again preparing to take this. Suter is forward, the tallest of the lot, standing on the penalty spot at the moment. Now just peeling away. Colwell's got an eye on him. As Suter running towards the far post tends to be the tactic here. Burgess is in there as well. He's firing towards the near post that time, and England again are able just to get it out of harm's way courtesy of John Stones. But back it will come. Miller down by the corner flag. Right-footed ball swung in. Good defensive header from the edge of the 6-yard box. Gets it clear outside the penalty area, but only as far as Aziz Bejic. Bejic will make his way down the left-hand touchline. Australia try to bring it into a more central position. Work it back for the centre halves. Boss has been lively since coming on at full-back. Goes back for Suter. Suter for Bacchus, and Bacchus all the way back for Ryan. That will allow England the opportunity just to push out and try and condense things in the midfield. The defensive line up now near the edge of the centre circle. Suter trying to play one over the top of that defensive line. Barello, the man chasing it, slid by Dunn back to his goalkeeper, and Sam Johnston's there to knock it away. 4th clean sheet in 4 appearances for his country is only minutes away, but what we've seen over the last 10, nothing's assured as yet. Calvin Phillips back for Dunk. Dunk to his right-hand side for Stones. And England with an opportunity to try and get it forward, just calm things down again. It's 1-0 to England. Another change is imminent as far as Australia are concerned, which will be their 6th. And it's going to be a debut for the teenage striker Mohamed Toure. Ball forward towards Eddie Nketiah over on the right-hand side. Was he fouled? Referee's assistant over there says no. And play will restart with a throw, but only after the change. So Metcalf is the man coming off, and Mo Toure will come on. Now he plays his club football in France. He's on loan from Grand to 2nd division side Paris FC at the moment, born in Guinea, but coming on to make his international debut for Australia for the minute or so that remains. That is their 6th change, so I don't know whether there has been a concussion substitution at some stage along the line. Rolls went off. He picked up a really bad bang to the head at one stage. So I don't know whether that is a concussion sub that has been made, but Australia have made 6 changes. Now Toure has got it, a chance to make a real name for himself. Trying to get past the first challenge, that of Trippier. We're going to 3 minutes of added time. Mabel sends a high spiralling ball in towards the far side. Trippier sticks his hands out to indicate that he can leave it, goes out of play. It's a goal kick to England. Only got 2.5 minutes to get through to full time with a clean sheet intact and a 1-0 win.
Yeah, I think England will be pleased to get out of this game with a clean sheet. I think they've been asked a lot of questions, especially from set plays and crosses. They've dealt with that. probably thanks to Dunk, and his physicality has been very helpful to them in that respect. But they've taken on an international challenge here that isn't your normal international. It's more like a home nations game of yesteryear, to be honest with you, and it's been a different challenge, and I've quite enjoyed it.
In terms of what, the physicality of Australia, the way that they've approached it, and the intensity of the rivalry between the two nations?
Yeah, they've played a game. They're a very good side. Collectively they're better than the individual sum parts. There's no doubt about that. They're a very well organised team. They work very hard for each other, and they ask you difficult questions that you don't normally see every day. And that's the beauty of football, playing against teams that are not all the same.
Will Gareth have learnt enough from this, do you think? Because when it comes down to it, every friendly is part of the learning process. Even if you don't like the answers that you're given, as long as you're getting answers, that seems to probably be the main point of the exercise.
Well, I think what you do is come out with, Lewis Dunk has played another solid game, and they've needed someone to stand up in the heart of defence. He's done that for them. Jared Bowen's been quite offensive, running at people. Ollie Watkins has got his goal, and I think he's played reasonably well within the group. And one or two players have said to Gareth, "Yep, you know what I mean, we're worth a place in your squad at least."
Well, a fair few supporters have left Wembley Stadium heading for the hills. A crowd of around 81,000 here tonight. Most of those that have left will be happy. Just a minute to go. England leading Australia by a goal to nil. But Suter sends a high diagonal ball out towards the Australian left-hand side. One more phase of play for England to defend here, potentially. Another left-footed ball forward from Burgess, who's had a good game. He's had a good season for Ipswich, a good game tonight. Ball cleared down the England right-hand side by Trippier. It's a throw, which the Aussies will take near the edge of the England penalty area with about 40 seconds to go. Ball laid back towards Bacchus. And now square through the midfield, Suter making his way forward. Every Australian player, bar keeper Matt Ryan, in England territory. Miller to Mabel, right-footed ball inside the area, and the header well wide. Johnston could watch you wide, and that'll be that.
Once again, another wonderful ball into the box, some pressure there, I think, by John Stones, and he did just enough. Irvine is desperate for a corner out of the situation.
A corner that he hasn't got. By the time Sam Johnston takes the goal kick, we will be just about at the edge of the 3 additional minutes. Well, it hasn't been particularly convincing at times. There's certainly been questions asked of England's backline defending set pieces, but a clean sheet is a clean sheet. Victory is a victory, and that's what England have got. 12 in a row in terms of international friendlies, 11 in a row on home soil. Ollie Watkins' goal just before the hour mark, 2 in 2 for him. He scored on both of his international starts. He's waited a long time for his recall, but he obliged, turning in a Jack Grealish cross shot to give England a 1-0 lead. Australia had some moments. Metcalf hit the post. England's players, some will have seen their stock rise. Others, realistically, will not have seen their stock rise tonight. But the bottom line is that England have got the job done. They've beaten Australia by a goal to nil. Gareth Southgate, I think, will have seen plenty of things to admire, a few things not to admire as well. We'll get his reaction with Faye Carruthers in the next 20 minutes or so from the tunnel downstairs. But England have won this tonight by a goal to nil.